Who runs the X, or formerly known as Twitter, account End Wokeness? The X account End Wokeness is a politically charged account that frequently engages in posts about social, cultural, and political issues. The account mainly focuses on criticizing woke culture, which typically refers to a set of progressive, liberal, or left-leaning ideals related to social justice, race, gender, and other identity politics. The tone of these tweets from End Wokeness tends to be provocative, controversial, and sometimes outright lies. Now, this is probably going to get shared a lot, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ryan McBeth. I'm a software engineer and director of integration for the Texas Aero Med Lab. This company uses AI-powered drones to deliver whole blood to wounded soldiers, so I know a little bit about software and artificial intelligence. In a previous job, I wrote C4ISR software for the military, which is basically software that finds bad guys. And once I found those bad guys, I would give the information to my client, which would, well, you get the idea. So I'm really good at using technology to find bad guys. I first encountered this End Wokeness account in December of 2022, when the account posted a picture of American Vice President Kamala Harris surrounded by Air Force servicemen with the caption, "Is this what our military actually looks like?" And before I wrote software, I was a heavy weapons infantryman who retired after 20 years. I'm an Irish Protestant, and I served with Mormons and African American Muslims, and we were all brothers. And this post just rubbed me wrong. So I made a video about it. And over the course of the next 2 years, I made 2 more videos correcting this End Wokeness account for spreading misinformation, or in some cases disinformation, or outright lies. And this account has grown by leaps and bounds over the past few years. Elon Musk, the owner of X, has even interacted with the account on previous occasions. And this scared me a little, because this account is essentially a fire hose of fake news, of disinformation and misinformation. Now, normally I wouldn't care, right? It's just some dude in his mom's basement, or maybe yet another Russian psyop like this dude. And by the way, you can see my evidence for this Russian psyop below. And then I was invited to the 2024 Disaster and Emergency Response Conference to present on how to counter disinformation during a disaster. And I had to write a paper in order to present at this particular conference. And one of the examples I cited was the term Hawaii, not Ukraine. See, back in August of 2023, lightning caused a wildfire on Maui, the Hawaiian island of Maui. And about 100 casualties resulted from that fire, and many, many homes were burned to the ground. And in that month, there just so happened to be an American congressional delegation traveling to Ukraine. So there was this narrative that was started by Russian bots that we are sending millions of dollars to Ukraine, but Hawaiians who were affected by wildfires were only receiving $700 payments. This was a lie. It was an outright lie. FEMA was granting cash assistance for something called critical needs assistance, which basically provides a one-time payment of $700 to address immediate needs like food, water, clothing, stuff that got burned up. And then you come back the next day and you apply for your actual relief. But End Wokeness implied that this was all that people were getting. With this tweet, "I think Joe Biden should take his $700 and get back on the effing planes." And this lie was seen over 2 million times. And the fact that End Wokeness would spread this Russian-supported lie, well, that's when I decided to figure out who this guy really was. Is the account Russian? Is the account American? Is the account somewhere in between? And I can say with pretty good confidence I know who runs the account.
Hey, I said I was going to Australia for a conference? Well, it's like a 15-hour trip. So I'm going to be getting internet. Now, Qantas Internet is powered by Viasat. And yes, that's the same Viasat that has come under cyber attack before. And that's why when I travel, I use PIA VPN. So click the link in the description below or go to piavpn.com/Macbeth to get 83% off plus 4 months free. Listen, Australia is constantly targeted by Chinese hackers. I actually went and bought a second phone and a second laptop just for this trip. And when I come home, I'm going to reset both of these to factory settings. And when I'm in Australia, I'll use PIA VPN even if I'm on my phone. PIA VPN creates a tunnel between your computer and the public internet that hackers and rogue government agents can't penetrate. It also lets you look like you're in a different location. I've been really into that Hulu Wu-Tang show. And Hulu might geofence this, so I won't be able to watch it in Australia. But with PIA VPN, I will. So go to piavpn.com/Macbeth or click the link in the description below to get 83% off plus 4 months free. Now let's get back to talking about End Wokeness.
Now, analyzing this account took months of software analysis, and if you want to replicate my work, all of my files are available on ryanmacbeth.substack.com for free. I am a man of science, and good science is reproducible. Note that none of these files contain personal information. This isn't doxing. All the data used to decipher the user behind the Unwokeness account is publicly available. It's just been sitting there for anyone to discover. All the dots are there, you just have to connect them. And anyway, the person behind the account is a public figure. Now, I started with taking down all of the tweets ever sent by the End Wokeness account, and I discovered something odd. The account was created in July of 2022, but its tweet history only goes back to February 8th, 2023. So I looked at the Wayback Machine. And the first tweet was on June 29th, 2022, which was a retweet of journalist Tucker Carlson regarding monkeypox. And oftentimes this is how Russian disinformation accounts get started. They start tweeting popular disinformation accounts like Tucker Carlson, hoping to gain followers. Note that back then the account called themselves Anti-Woke Warrior. For more about how Russian disinformation bots are born, watch my video on the topic. But then the account starts growing. In just 7 days, from July 29th, 2022 to August 5th, 2022, the account grew to more than 3,000 some followers. In 4 more days, the account followers doubled. Normally, this does not happen without some kind of foreign help. The account grew at an average of 1,700 or so followers per day. Once Elon Musk bought Twitter, it grew at an average of 3,600 followers per day. By February 7th, 2023, on the eve of the State of the Union address, the account had about 586,000 followers. And then the account did something funny. They deleted all their previous tweets. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And maybe it was kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight. You want to be a force of chaos. But once you have an origin story, you kind of take away some of that mystique. So I pulled down all the tweets from End Wokeness and I analyzed them, and one word kept coming up. It was the word schlit. And this is kind of an interesting choice of words because people don't tend to use that word all that much, but it is used by 2 major accounts, End Wokeness and Libs of TikTok. Now, Libs of TikTok is also a right-wing anti-woke account, and it's run by a woman named Chaya Raichik. Could Chaya Raichik be End Wokeness? So I downloaded all the tweets from both End Wokeness and Chaya Raichik, and I ran some analysis. Now, in the intelligence community, we call this pattern of life analysis. From this, you can figure out everything from when someone wakes up to when they go to work to when they have lunch. End Wokeness tweets on average 16.5 times per day, with most tweets falling into a band between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Chaya Raichik tends to tweet between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Note that X converts everything to your local time when viewing a tweet. So I am on the East Coast. I just want you to know that so you can take time zones into account if you do your own analysis. But so here are the tweet times. They just don't match up. And if you do a breakdown by day, End Wokeness tends to tweet on weekdays and sometimes on the weekends. Chaya Raichik's tweets fall off a cliff on Saturdays. And note that Chaya Raichik is an Orthodox Jew. Observant Jews who obey the rules of the Jewish Sabbath, which is from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, they don't tend to use electricity on the Sabbath. So I think we can safely discount Chaya Raichik. But keying off that word schlit, I came upon another account, Jack Posobiec. Mr. Posobiec is an American alt-right political activist, television correspondent, and a former United States Navy intelligence officer. Now, analyzing his tweets took a while. The file itself is 22 megabytes. That is a lot of tweets. This guy tweets about 80 times a day, mostly between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Now, going through the tweets, Mr. Posobiec has 2.5 million followers. End Wokeness has 2.6 million followers. So, why would someone create a new account just to replicate the level of fame or followers that they currently have now? So I almost discounted it until I noticed something else. 9 tweets from End Wokeness contain this character E, which is the Polish letter E, a little E with a tail. Oftentimes, this character is used by End Wokeness as substitution for the English letter E when saying words that could be filtered as